I would guess that the majority of people that listen to this show are, well, say the majority, they're probably self-employed photographers or hobbyists that would like to be, working within the photography industry, maybe. We've got a whole mix of people listening to it. Okay.
Yeah.
But now we wanted to talk about online reviews and the things that we need to be aware of as photographers of online reviews, the benefits, the pitfalls. How involved are you with online reviews? Have you come across,
Okay, so I mean, just to go back to it, I think what sparked this conversation between us two really about reviews was there was an article I read about someone who went onto TikTok who had a really bad experience with a wedding photographer. Now, by the sounds of the story, the wedding photographer hasn't really done very well here. However, we only have one side of this story. And this is kind of what to talk about it, because reviews are very one-sided generally. And you do have to be careful with them. Now, this TikToker said she spent $3,000 on this photography. She showed, I've only really seen 3 photos from this on her videos, and those photos don't look very good. They're out of focus and the bride doesn't look great and all this kind of stuff. And apparently the photographer hasn't done very good aftercare sales with this either, because basically he's just saying there's nothing, that's it, nothing to see here kind of thing. Whereas if the rest of the photos are like that, there is. But we live in an age now where social media is very much part of everybody's life. And that includes online reviews, really, whether it's Google reviews, whether it's on Facebook, TikTok, or the others, you know what I mean? So, we always like to have good reviews. Of course we do. I'm not as proactive as maybe I should be with it. I get people to fill in satisfaction forms after family photography and stuff like that. And I'm always getting nice reviews there, but I'm really bad at getting people to go, can you just shove it online for me as well, please? I'm just not very good at it. What I wanted to really pull this up on is, again, this isn't just something about the photography industry, although we are both photography professionals and that's the industry we're in. And it was just really how you think about the etiquette is on dealing with good reviews, bad reviews, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I was about 6-7 months ago. I just moved into a new area, and I need to get my car MOT'd, and I was looking at different reviews for different garages, and some of these, some of them had bad reviews, and it was only on a couple. Okay, so some of these reviews were kind of like essay size, you know what I mean? This didn't happen, that didn't happen, and they did this, blah, 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 blah. And it was only on some of them where the garage actually replied and said, no, actually, that's not what happened. We offered this to you and you didn't do this, and blah, 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 blah. So there was 2 sides of the story, and you kind of go, okay, so you read that bad review and then you read the other side of it, you go, well, actually, you're reading both sides of it, whereas generally you don't see that, do you? So I remember when I was at Venture and we had a review about the costs. Now, Venture are expensive, there's no doubt about it. And I always remember the first tagline on this review was, Venture is a money-making machine. And I was thinking, well, yes, that's exactly what it is, because it's a business. Otherwise, they go under. And there's this big thing about how it was. And I said to my boss, it was about the studio I was working at, and I said to my boss, we should reply to this because this is outrageous. And he was like, no, just leave it. It'll go away, blah, 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 blah. Now, that was back in, 2008, maybe, that kind of time, a long time ago. And when I see a bad review, it's very rare you get someone actually going, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Now, should that be the case? Should that be what it is? Or should we actually have the courage to go, if it's an unjust bad review, should we have the courage to go and reply to that review saying, actually, no, this is not on. This is not what happens. This is what happened. And likewise, if it's a good review, having a nice reply and stuff, so you get like the full story. What do you think?
I think that it's like when you book a holiday. So let's look at a different industry for a moment. I mean, you said when when you were looking for car and MOT,
MOT.
Whenever I book a hotel, I will always look at reviews. I'll go to TripAdvisor, find out a little bit about it, find a bit about the area and reviews. And you do trust yourself you do find yourself looking at these reviews, and you do trust those reviews. I think it's just human nature. You buy something on Amazon. So if I'm looking up something on Amazon, I'll scroll down to the bottom, see how many stars it's got, and I'll read some of the reviews. And, you'll get your 5-star reviews, you get your 1-star reviews for the same product. You get all of those, and people venting off. I think it's a bit different with Amazon because they're buying, people are reviewing their experience of a product. Whereas say in our case, a lot of the time, and say with, hotels to a certain extent, it's down to service. So,
and the product as well, I guess,
and the product as well.
It's photographs, isn't it? At the end of the day.
So you imagine somebody goes on holiday, and they've had programs about this, haven't they, on TV, where families and people go on holiday, and the only reason why they go on holiday is that they go to complain. So they spend their whole holiday looking to find something to complain about.
Yeah.
The taps are too hot. I want to change room, And
I'm sure, just as a caveat, I'm sure these people are a minority. This is not what people generally do.
Not what people generally do, but there are people that do that, but people will complain about any little thing. Of course, when they are not happy about one thing, they're not happy about something else, another thing. And on the news here in the UK recently, there's been, I don't know if you've seen it, the news stories of people fighting over sunbeds at hotels. I
haven't really heard it.
Yeah, and there was a real brawl at one of the hotels, and people looking for sunbeds. Now, all of those hotels are most likely possibly going to be getting a bad review, or a review of some sort. Oh, the hotel didn't do this, the hotel didn't do that, they didn't supply enough sunbed, all of those things. Okay, so so there are reviews happening everywhere. As far as photographers go, I know that at the same time, although there are a lot of reviews, there are a lot of. I've been meaning to write hundreds of reviews, and I've very rarely written a review. Okay, yeah. I'm guilty of not writing reviews, and yet I want my customers, I want our customers to review us. But I don't do it in return.
No, I don't.
and with all the best sort of will in the world and the best intentions, people say, yeah, we would. I've had emails from people saying, please let us know where we can write a review. We'd love to write a review about you. And you say, here it is. And they never do it, and it's such a shame. And it's not because they've not wanted to, it's just because, hey, I'll get round to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of reviews that you read can be negative because people are very quick to complain and vent off about something.
Well, this is the thing I was just about to get into, actually, with these. It's generally people who want to, like you say, vent or feel they've been aggrieved, or actually just want to, it can be used as a threat as well. I've seen that. If you don't do what I want you to do, I will write you a bad review. I've seen that a lot of times, So that's why generally reviews are negative, I guess. People are more likely to write a negative review than a positive one. But how do you deal with that? So if you feel that someone has written a review about your business and it's unjust, how do you deal with it?
Okay, so I can relate to this not from the review point of view, but certainly emails of complaints that have been sent in. I'm going to be completely open and honest here, okay? Otherwise, it's pointless having this podcast or having this conversation. Now, as people know that where you and I are involved in graduations, and we're talking about graduation photography, big numbers of people.
Yes, as we discussed a couple of pods ago, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. And we recently, Mark and I were working at an event. And we are the organisers of the event, so we're not necessarily just working there as the event. We are some of the prime organisers of this whole event coming together. So we reckoned that the event we were shooting at, over a period of a few days, there were probably about 28,000 people there, and a lot of photos taken. And when I counted the files that were taken, there were anything between 50 and 100,000, 105,000 files, I think I got to. Okay. So that's a lot. It's a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people to keep happy. Now, undoubtedly, you are going to get people complaining. You are going to get some of those people saying, I don't like the way I look. And normally it's I don't like it. And more often than not, and again, I'm going to be completely honest here, okay, with everything. More often than not, it's females. Guys very rarely do this, okay? And you know, and look, whether or not I should say or not, but the vast majority are, okay. Now, I'm just saying that this is the way it is, okay.
Well, that's
what I was going to say. The reason why I was going to go on to the reason why I said that was because obviously with Instagram and selfies and that type of thing, people are very, very self-conscious now of putting filters. They take a photo, they'll put a filter on, and that's definitely done more by females than it is by guys. That's just, guys do it, but it's far more women females that will do that. Okay?
I mean, it is a generalization, but I'm guessing, when you see the amount, if you have a number of people emailing you with this, you will see who it's coming from. And, it's just factual evidence.
Exactly. That's right.
It's not a point, I guess.
And Mark, I totally get the fact that, we do need to be with fairness. We don't necessarily need to say there's a difference between men and women and that. And I get all of that, but I'm just saying sort of this is what we see. This is a trend that we actually see. I'm not having to go at anyone about it. I'm just saying that's what happens. So we will get emails from some people and somebody will send an email saying, hey guys, I'm not happy with my picture because of this, this, and this. Very polite email. Then some people will write an email that literally blames everyone and anything. Okay, how the photographer was rude, how the people that greeted them were rude on the day, how they were shown no respect on the day, and it's all because they don't like their photo. So they're building up this email to this huge complaint. Then you can tell they've got worked up over it, and they've actually said, right, I'm going to write a complaint. Oh, and by the way, while I'm writing this, I wasn't happy with this, I wasn't happy with that, I wasn't happy with this, I wasn't happy with that. So, and then in those messages, it will say, I'm going to be writing a really bad review. I'm going to write a review if you don't do something about it. Now, regardless of whether they do that or not, we don't want anyone to feel that they're not happy with their photos. Okay, so we're very, very hands-on. And you've got to remember also, there's a whole team of people dealing with this, this dedicated department that deals with all of this. So an email will come to me. If it will come into the company. If it's escalated, it will come to me, and I will deal with that person direct, and I'll make it very personal. So, and what I'll do is I'll show that I am human, that we're not machines. So I will go in and I will ask them how they are. I'll ask them if they've had that they had a good experience at the graduation, and all of that. And I'll say that let me try and do what I can to make sure that we sort your photos out for you. Once you've got to that point, suddenly the tone changes. They suddenly think, whoa, oh, actually, hang on, someone's being kind here to me. And I always come back to that thing about be kind. Remember that phrase about being kind? I mean, it was Caroline Flack when she died. And I've mentioned this so many times. That whole be kind thing did not last long, did it?
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. You just got to look at Twitter or X, if it's now called X, isn't it? But
and that's one of the things that just that things don't really wind me up. They don't get to me. But the whole be kind thing really gets to me because that's just gone completely. So once you say to these people, right, okay, look, what can I do to help? I'm here to help you. And do you know what, Mark? I don't think that there's been a single instance that we've not managed to sort out. And what we'll do is we'll say, okay, what is the issue with it? Okay. And it's usually something that can be rectified really quickly. And it's usually something to do with maybe the final images were a little bit dark, or they want to have a look at all of the images again. And they just want to choose this. They want to reselect their image again. Fine. You can do that. It's fine. We want you to be happy. When it gets to a point where we think, okay, this is not really solvable in the way that there's something that's not right, then what we'll do is we'll offer a reshoot, a complimentary reshoot, where that graduate can go to another graduation ceremony. Now, in the last 2 years, since COVID, since last year and this year, and we've got one coming up, out of all of the thousands that we do, this will be the second reshoot. All right. Okay. That we've got coming up in September. She had a picture shot a few weeks ago at an event, and she wasn't happy with the picture. We can edit things and do whatever, but it's nothing to do with the photography. The photography was absolutely fine. Technically, there was nothing wrong with it. She just doesn't like the way that she looks. We don't have to do what we've done by offering her a complimentary reshoot, but we're doing it. And it happens, okay. And I'll give you people another instance. And we were at a graduation event recently where a graduate came up to me. She looked a little bit sort of stressed, and she said to me that she wasn't happy with the photos that had been taken by the photographer. And I said, look, just tell me why. And she went on to explain to me that she gets very stressed. She feels under pressure very, very easily. And I felt really sorry for her. And she was being very, very genuine. And she said to me, I didn't know whether to say something. So I said, okay, look, let's just hit reset and start again. And what we'll do is we'll get you your photos. We'll get you to another photographer and get your photos taken again.
Yeah. And that's really, and that's, you know, and that's what you should do.
Yeah. And I said to her, what do you want to, have you got your family? Have you got your family with you? And bring your family in for a photo. And they were more than happy. You know, we'd rectified the situation there and then. It wasn't a problem at all. Okay. In other words, we fixed the situation. And this is, I think, I've gone in a roundabout sort of way to say that that customers, if they're not happy with something, they have to give the people that who have provided the service the opportunity to say, let me see if I can help you with this. Let me see if there's a solution, because usually the solution is an easy fix.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just on those instances that where you feel you've done everything and they're still not happy, you will get those people. The question really asking is how do you deal with it on an online forum where lots of people are going to be reading it.
Yeah.
And let's say you did all of those things and they were still not happy and still wrote a bad review. What do you do with that review?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Would you then write a reply for everyone to read and say, well, actually, no, this happened. We tried to do this. You didn't want to do that, blah, 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 blah. And now this is where we are. Because as I say, back in 2008, when I wanted to reply to that review, because I just thought it was grossly out of order. I was said, no, don't do it. It's just going to cause more bother.
Yeah.
But I felt it was unjust. you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think from sort of the way I would be was if I had something to complain about, if I was something that I wasn't happy about, I wouldn't write a review online. Okay, I'd go to the people first, which is what I was saying. And
but let's say that's all been done.
Yeah, but no. So what I was going to say was, I think that's what most people do, but there's a certain type of person that will just vent straight away. Okay. So they go ahead and they write a bad review. They've not contacted you in any way. You've just read this review online and you thought, oh God, what's going on here? Okay. So the different ways are, yes, you can write a reply and explain yourself. Okay. Now, when you, and I've seen hotels do this. I've seen hotel managers write, I'm sorry you weren't happy, but and normally what they'll say is, in most cases, they'll say, if you'd have told us at the time, we could have done something about it. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay. Yeah. Now, what you have to be careful of in your reply is it's very easy to open yourself up to something else. Okay, and you've got all good intentions, but suddenly you've written something that not just that particular person, but somebody else could be reading it and is thinking, oh, right, okay, they might take something that you've written the wrong way. So what I would personally do in this situation, I'm really thinking about it now, if I was put on the spot, what I would do is I would contact that customer and I would say, look, I've read the review online, which is really disappointing, but I want to try and help you. What can we do to fix? What can we do to solve this? Let's be sort of fairly certain that we would be able to fix it, because you'd know you'd have known well before a review was written, right? And then what I would do is, if it's solvable, what I would then say would be, first of all, is find out whether that review could be removed. Or then say to the person, or what I would do is maybe not involve the person anymore, because you just want to get a shot of those people, right? You want to sort it out and get a shot of them and never see them again, right? Let's be honest, right? And then what I would probably do is go into the review, and I would say that I'd write a general comment, wouldn't say anything that's gone, and say that I wanted to respond to this customer and I've been in direct contact with this customer. the customer raised an issue, and between us, we solved it, and the customer walked away happy or whatever, right?
Okay.
Phrase better. Okay. And it was left like that. And then say, look, we really care about customer service. And customer service is the most important part of what we do and everything. It's at the forefront of what we do as a business. And then I would leave it at that. So I'm not ignoring it. You can ignore it. I know somebody, I'm not going to say who it is, going back a few years ago, I lost touch with this person who ran a company. I won't say what sort of company it was. His service, he was very good at what he did, but the service he provided was very hit and miss at what he did. And he started to get some bad reviews, and justifiably bad reviews as well. Yeah. And what he then did was he came off of social media altogether. He just completely shut his social media stuff down. So he completely ignored everything that was going on. So he was burying his head in the sand. Whereas the first instance I would do is I would email the people. I'd say, look, I do want to sort this out for you. What can we do about it? And then sort the review out.
I think yeah. I mean, all that is fine. I think the worry is if you feel you bent over backwards with someone and they're still not happy, what do you do?
I think then, I think as far as the online review is concerned is, again, I would probably be honest and say, look, we've tried to rectify the situation. Let's just say that we offered the person a reshoot, or we offered the person to rectify. The customer didn't want to, decided not to continue with it or whatever. And so, we offered the customer a full refund. And if we didn't have to, I'd say we didn't have to do this, but as a goodwill gesture, we decided that this was the best for all relations. This was the best thing to do. And being a professional company, it's important to us that, so there's still ways of killing it in the right way. But people have to read in between, don't they? Reviews, you can buy,
don't know, do they?
buy a product, review a product, and you read on Amazon, and you read 10 5-star reviews, and then you see that 1-star review, and you think, oh my god, that's the one that keeps, and you go back and you go back.
It's that bad review, and that's why we're all sort of held hostage to the possibility of a bad review. And I think, although don't get me wrong, I think having that sort of customer justice, or a way for a customer to make a company to account, I think is very important. And but I do feel sometimes that you're right. This thing could have like hundreds of 5-star reviews, but it's just that one bad review, and that'll put you off. And the power of that bad review. Yeah. And
when it comes to the graduation stuff, it's messed my day up at times. And you can't get it off your mind, because that there is nothing wrong with what you've done and the service that you've provided. You just know just knock the mic over. You just know 1,000% that what you've done is absolutely fine. The photos, there's nothing wrong with the photos. You just know that this customer is going to be a difficult customer, for whatever reason. There are people out there that are like that, and you have to deal with it, and you take it personally, and it's not very nice when it happens.
It's a personal thing what we do, isn't it?
It is a very personal thing what we do.
It's hard not to take it personally when people do that. Even and don't get me wrong, if it's something, I always, especially my family photography, there's certain things I have in place to make sure that I can rectify anything before it even becomes a problem. So, I do have a length of time for when people's products are back from the lab. I state that length of time, knowing full well, actually, it'll probably take a lot less than that, but it gives me time to go through those products and make sure I don't spot anything. Because if I do, I can send it back, and then it comes back still within the time that I've told the customer. And then if everything's fine, I've just delivered it early, and that's, So there's a lot of things to do with that. But as I say, I have come across things in my career, whether it's not just my freelance, but when I was working with companies, that I just felt some reviews are just the whole, this business is a money making machine. Well, of course it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. And I just feel like sometimes when you get that unjust review, you feel hostage to it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it
that's right.
rattle me a little bit. But
that's right.
They're few and far between, to be fair. They are.